Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ron Wallace with Ballin' Down South here. And yes, we have another college coach on here today. You guys here in the Mobile area, probably around the country, definitely over in Louisiana, definitely should know exactly who he is. I got none other than South Alabama's head men's basketball coach, Richie Riley, on the line today. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing great, Ryan. I appreciate you having me on.
Man, it's been good. I know the pandemic has got the sports world on lockdown. How's the family?
Yeah, we're doing really good. I'm getting to spend a lot more time with them, which is, it's a blessing in disguise. These are tough times we're going through, but it really gives you an opportunity to sit back and spend more time with your family, especially us as coaches, because we're constantly running and recruiting and with our own teams. So right now we don't have those things, and it allows me to spend some time with my two boys and my wife Jess.
Well, that's good. That's good. Everything's good at my home front. But let's hop right into it, Coach. You guys were off to a great season before the pandemic. You guys were 2011, 13 and 7 overall, second seed in the SBC tournament for the men's basketball, and your last win, 8 wins, straight 8 wins before your season came to a halt. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was really tough because we had won eight straight. We hadn't lost in something like 38 or 40 days, so it was a brutal way to end, especially for our seniors because we inherited some of those guys and they had never won like that. And I'm so proud of them, and I give them all the credit in the world. They learned how to win, and they really bought into what we were doing. And for them not to get to see the final act of it is tough, man. It's something that needed to be done. It's certainly our country and our health is first and foremost. But I just hated it for our guys to have to go tell them that day that they were shutting everything down, and we were sitting 2 wins away from going to the NCAA tournament. We had a heck of an opportunity out in front of us, and our kids deserve that because they worked extremely hard to get to that point. But it's hard times for our country. It's hard times, and this will only make our guys stronger. Those seniors that are moving on to play professionally and work in everyday life, it'll make them stronger to go through some adversity like this.
And since you're talking about some of your seniors, Josh Ajayi, Trey Mitchell, Andre Fox, Herb McGee, just speak a little bit about each one of those guys that that left your program going on bigger things right now.
Yeah, those guys were really special to me. We got to have our senior night and one to clinch the 2 seed in the double bye, so we got to go through that. So that was a little bit of closure, but we wanted the closure of trying to go to the NCAA tournament. When you look at each one of those guys, Trey Mitchell, when we inherited him, he averaged 7 points a game. That was the most he had scored per season in his career, and he immediately doubled that, and then came into this season as the preseason Sun Belt Player of the Year. Had a great year. He's going to have an unbelievable professional career. I think he's a guy that is going to be attractive to some G League guys, and obviously high level overseas. He'll have those opportunities as well. And then Josh Ajayi, who was a 2-time All League guy in the Sun Belt, was by far the best post player in our league and one of the best mid-major post players in the country. And he's signed with an agent now, and a really good agency, and he's a guy that's going to play for a long time and make a lot of money doing this, I'm sure. But his growth with us over 2 years was some of the best I've seen, in terms of how he learned to work every day, his consistency, what the game meant to him. I think he really bought into our culture of how we believe, and he was tremendous. Andre Fox came to us. He was here 2 years. He set out one of those, and then he was eligible the next year, and he was a scorer from High Point. We called him Big Shot Fox here. He made a bunch of big shots in his career the 1 year that he played for us. He made crucial shots. The Texas State game, he scored the last 10 points of the game, went on a 10-0 run by himself to close the game out and send us to the double bye. But he's going to have a great career. I'm looking forward to that. Herb McGee is kind of ambassador of our program. He's been that since he was, a freshman before I got here. In med school here or pre-med, and then he's get his degree. And whatever Herb does, whether he decides to play or he gets into He's been talking about getting to coaching a little bit. I hope that he does that because he'd be a heck of a coach. Whatever he does, he's going to be really successful. And he was a joy to coach, and he was probably the most like me from a competitive standpoint. He didn't want to lose in Connect Four, man. He didn't want to lose in any. We could be playing Connect Four, we could be playing tic tac toe. It didn't matter. He just wants to win, and I think I'm like that too. And then our other seniors too. Kevin Morris was huge for us. His numbers aren't going to show that, but his leadership and just having a selfless attitude. He did so many things that helped us win. I think that gets overlooked sometimes. And Don Coleman too. Don battled through adversity all year. Had an injury that hindered what he was able to do. And as we went through, his attitude and the growth that he showed, even though he didn't get to showcase exactly what he can do because of injuries, he still was so positive and helped a lot of our younger guys from a leadership standpoint throughout.
Now, keeping on with last season, you guys were within 1 point when you played Auburn. I was there at that game. I watched it live and in person. Talk a little bit about how your guys battled back and almost came out of there with a win.
Yeah, first and foremost, I'm always appreciative to Coach Pearl for playing the game. His willingness to do a 2-for-1 with us just shows what type of guy that he is. He wants to enhance basketball in the state of Alabama, and that's one of the best ways to do it, to bring a name brand like Auburn, especially what he's built it to play in Mobile. You saw the crowd. We set a record for the most people. Yeah. And, we come into every game expecting to win. And we work really hard as a program. We feel like we put the time in, and we feel like we deserve to win. So even though we're playing a big-time team, to me a top 15 team in America at the time, we were expecting to win. We felt like we could be right there. And we came out, we were a little shell-shocked because of the crowd. We're not used to playing in that environment. And it bothered us a little bit. So we got down, and then we fought back. We settled in and fought back. And I wish we could have finished the job. We had a couple rebounds, a couple chances to kind of seal it. But, we didn't come up with them. And you have to – mistakes can't be present when you're trying to beat a great team like Auburn and a great program like Auburn. And we just weren't able to finish it. But I think it paid dividends for us down the stretch once we – I think we learned some things from that game, how to close. And we won a lot of close games down the stretch on our 8-game win streak that finished the season. I think that game really helped us.
Now, Coach, I know everybody in the country probably has been watching The Last Dance, the story about Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. How can you, what if anything, can you show a contrast with the type of players, that come and play for your program? Something like how Michael Jordan and the Bulls did, with the leadership and all of the players stepping up. How can you contrast that with, some of the players that you recruit and some of the players that have played for you?
I wish I had a joker like Michael Jordan. That'd be a heck of a thing to have, or Scotty or any of those guys. But I think each team, great teams, are pieced together the right way. And that Bulls team, those Bulls teams were pieced together really well. I think that gets left out, with Mike and Scotty and the greatness that they were. They're always going to be the headliners. That's who you're going to talk about. But when you look at pieces on those Bulls teams, the Steve John Pack type of role. And then you got, the early 90s teams with Horace Grant. Then Dennis Rodman kind of took on that role. Ron Harper and B.J. Armstrong, kind of that role. They did some different things. But, each one of those teams were pieced together very similar with different pieces surrounding Scotty and Mike. And I think as our program goes, I think we do a nice job of putting together our roster. I think obviously with the ratings, you see how high our recruiting ratings are and some of the transfers that we get and, the things we do. But we have a purpose. There's a method to the madness, and we want to piece it together the right way so each guy complements each other well. And each guy understands their role really well. And I think that's the key to having a good team. So here at South Alabama, I think we really dive into that. We watch a lot of film. We do a lot of evaluation as far as getting to know the kids we're recruiting and their personalities. And we put it together in a way that is going to lead to success, hopefully. And I think that's probably the direct correlation when you look at great teams, and we've seen this Bulls team, for the last 5 Sundays, we've all been glued to the TV. And I think that gets overlooked. The star power is always, first and foremost when people talk about teams. But those pieces, those complementary pieces, had to fit just right, and they had to have the right mentality. And I think really good teams have that.
Now, talking about building a team. Now, how has your recruiting been from transfers, from recruits that you guys add into your roster now? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think we've recruited really well. I think we've got a great mix. We've balanced the classes out, which was important to me. Of, you know, this year we graduated so many guys that it made it tough in class. We signed 8 new guys. So we added some transfers late here. One of them I can't discuss because the paperwork's not in. I don't think yet. Should be in today. But we signed Terence Lewis from Iowa State, who's a guy that's produced in the Big 12. We signed Kyle Goncalves, coming from a winning program at Southeastern Oklahoma State, an elite shooter at 6'8", 220, can really rebound. Phenomenal kid, all about winning, and so is Terence Lewis. And then you look at what we were able to do in the early period, which was really impressive. We had the #1 recruiting class in the Sun Belt this year, and that only counts the high school guys and the JUCO guys. It doesn't count the transfers. So we signed some guys. We added some depth up front, which was needed. Jamal West was the Baltimore Catholic League Player of the Year, which is a prestigious honor. He played for a top 15 team in all of America at St. Francis in Baltimore. So we're pumped about him. Zondrick Garrett, who's from here in Alabama. Really excited about Zondrick, 3-star kid. And I think both those guys will come in and be able to really, really help us right away up front. And then Andrew Anderson, a tough guard out of Memphis, high IQ. He's another 3-star guy. Dad's a coach. He comes from a basketball family. And then Caleb White from New Orleans, who's a high upside guy, 6'8", 250, 260, and really mobile. And his best basketball is out ahead of him. The way that our team's constructed, it'll allow him to kind of feel his way and get better. And I think his best days are ahead of him. And then we set out 2 kids last year, DeAndre Ballard, a transfer from Florida, who had some huge games there, had multiple 20-point games. He's a 6'7" wing shooter who's really talented, former top 60 player in the country. Terence Lewis was a former top 60 player in the country, the kid from Iowa State. And then we set out Sammy Orio, who was an All-Patriot League performer at American, averaged 14 and 7. Versatile guy, plays multiple positions, really improved his body during the set-out year. He put on 25 pounds of muscle. And then we returned some guys that are really good players. Tyreek LaCure started for us the majority of the year last year as a true freshman. We look for him to take another step. KK Curry, who was really coming on at the end of the year after he battled an ankle injury throughout the non-con and early conference slate. We think he can take another step. And then John Petway coming back. And Pet is kind of like a Swiss Army knife. He just comes in and gives us incredible energy. And you know what you're getting with him every time that he's out there. And that's an elite defender and a high-level athlete. So we're really excited about what we have. I think this has a chance to be the most talented team since I've been here, and probably the most talented team in a long time.
Now, Coach, when you looking at those guys and looking at the size of those guys, you got some pretty good size all over the court, even at the guard positions. And you don't find that a lot in a lot of teams down in this area. But I've been noticing a lot of the schools, colleges, been trying to get some big guards that can be versatile and can play the 1 to 2 and possibly slide down to like a small forward position. Try to be positionless. And that you guys are assembling definitely a good roster. So we definitely looking for you guys to make another run at the tournament next season whenever it starts. Can you talk about your staff, your assistant coaches, and stuff like that, how they help your program and stuff of that nature? Just speak on that for us.
Yeah, for sure. One guard that I didn't get to is David Walker, and he's certainly what you just said. He's a big guard, and to me, he's one of the top 2 or 3 JUCO players in all of America. I think he's rated somewhere in the top 10, but he's a bona fide high-level guard, and he's coming in from Casper Community College. So we're really excited about him. I think he's got a chance to be one of the better players in our league right off top. So we're excited about that too. I was I got to those high school guys. I forgot my lone JUCO guy. I had to make sure I got my man D Walk in there. He's going to be huge to what we do. But my staff, I'm fortunate to have an incredible staff. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, and I'm lucky to be surrounded by an elite group of people and coaches. And going down my staff, my associate head coach Morrow Morgan, who is, there's no doubt he's ready to be a head coach. He's as good as there is out there, and he does a great job teaching our guys and developing those relationships, both in recruiting and on the court and just in their lives. He's a great mentor for our guys. He was a great player at Idaho State and played professionally for a while, so he can really relate to our guys. And I think he's, it's only a matter of time before he's a head coach. Then I've got Adam Howard, who's a veteran guy. I've known Adam for a long time. We both grew up in Kentucky. He's a year or two younger than me, but we both grew up in Kentucky and have had very similar paths in coaching as far as the levels we've been at. He's kind of like a defensive coordinator. He's tremendous coaching defense, especially our zone. He does a great job of helping our guys, in games and preparation. Especially, he does a really good job of making guys are ready to go and knows what they're going to see, and so he's a guy that's extremely valuable for our staff. And then Tyler Parker is really good. He came to Nichols with me as a director of ops, working basically for free. He turned down some jobs, making more money because he wanted to get to the Division I level, and he believed in what we were doing. So I rewarded him by bumping him up after a year here being ops, and he's responded tremendously. He had a huge hand in our recruiting class, brings great energy every single day, and he's a really, really good up-and-coming coach. And then my director of ops is Mike Kosich, and he came to us, took a chance, and came to work really cheap as a GA in hopes that he could, prove his worth, and he's done that and more. I rewarded him and promoted him to our director of ops last spring, and he's been invaluable, incredibly organized, and he does a lot. I think he's the best graphics guy in America. He's so creative with making and these kids love that. He's so creative with making graphics, and just all the behind the scenes stuff that he does to keep us organized is extremely high level. He's good enough to be the director of ops, anywhere in the country. So we're fortunate to have him here. And then you get into some of our support staff. Brandon Kuhn is our strength coach, and he's phenomenal. He's a Power 5 strength coach. There's no doubt in my mind. I've been at that level. He's as good as there is. He's been a lot of places. He's been at Texas Tech. He's been at Manhattan. He's been at Western Kentucky, and our kids love him. I've never seen a group of kids buy into lifting weights like ours do, just because his energy, and they can feel themselves getting better. So we're fortunate to have him in that position. Emmanuel Tommy is our director of recruiting, another guy that came here, rolling the dice, burning the bullets, like I like to say, to try to be part of something special and make a career. And he's came here. He's really impressed me with his work ethic, how he relates to our guys, and just his passion for hoops. He's got a really, really bright future in coaching. And then last but certainly not least, Stevie Repahowski played for me at Nichols State. He was transferred to Nichols State from Tulsa. So he's been with me since I've been a head coach. I don't know if I don't know. I joke with Steve. He's the only one that's around here that's been with me since I've been a head coach. I've never spent a season without Steve. So our relationship is really close. He knows me well, and I think he does a good job relating who I am to our guys. And, I'm a hard dude to play for some days. When we're not practicing well, I get on our guys and I coach them, with some passion and energy. So he's good to have on the in-between to talk to him and kind of tell him, who I am, because he's been coached by me for 2 years.
Talk a little bit about your coaching philosophy. I know every coach has their own philosophy of coaching, but what's your philosophy with coaching?
Yeah, first and foremost, it's about our kids. The reason I do this is to help guys get to their dreams and goals. I think we forget that sometimes in our preparation with X's and O's and certainly wins and losses, because it's how we keep our job, is based on wins and losses, and that's how you are seen to be successful in this profession. So that's certainly important to me, obviously, but that can never be done at the expense of not helping our kids get to their dreams and goals and what's best for them. So the commitment that we have as a staff to the guys that we bring in here is that, we're going to work incredibly hard and we're going to win and we're going to be successful, but we're also going to help you do those things individually. And I think that's important. And my philosophy is extremely competitive. Our teams are competitive. We operate with a chip on our shoulder every single day. We work at an elite level so that we deserve to win. It's something that's important to me. If you don't work at it and you're not fully invested all the time, then you don't deserve to win the game. And we always want to work at a level and prepare at a level where when they tip the ball up, we feel like we've outworked that other team in our preparation. So we deserve to win. And we talk about that a lot. And we just have a culture of family. I think it's different. Family is the most commonly used term that you hear in college coaching when guys recruit kids and they talk about their programs. But it is that here. When you come here, you feel that. And people on the outside, when they come watch us practice or they come and they're around us, on a visit or something, they feel that from our guys, from our support staff, from the assistants. Everybody within our program is family, whether you average 20 points or you average 0 points, whether you're an assistant coach or you're a student assistant manager. Everybody's family, and we're all working as one, and we all have a huge purpose within this program, and that all goes into winning.
Well, Coach, I can definitely thank you for coming in. One last question. Dealing with social media when, recruiting kids, you see kids liking this post, posting this, posting that, all these crazy looking screenshots and stuff of other people's posts. Speak about how that is, it could be, things can be good or bad on social media when you're trying to get looked at by a college coach to play whatever sport you may be trying to play.
Yeah, social media has really changed the game. I'm a huge fan of Twitter. I'm on there all the time, but it's changed. It's really changed how everything moves. The pace of recruiting, how you recruit. All the social media stuff is very valuable, and these kids live and die by it, man. They love it. They're always on there, and I encourage kids when I talk in these settings to make sure you don't put anything on there that's going to hurt you. I think sometimes we get lost in our own heads sometimes, especially when you're a young kid, from 16 to 22 years old or, however age, recruiting age, and you get in your, just your own mind and you put something out there. And once you put it out there for the world, you can't take it back and delete it real quick, but somebody may have caught that and, then it's out there. I mean, it's amazing how social media works and how it just spreads so fast. I was joking around about the Bulls. All that stuff was kept secret. In this day and age, we would know every single thing that Dennis was doing and Mike was doing and everybody was doing. So, it can be really powerful for kids. It can help kids. Their recruitment can change overnight. With all the highlight videos and this and that. But it can also hurt you by one tweet or one video that you shouldn't be putting out there. So you just got to be cautious with it and use it to your advantage. And I can tell you one thing for all those recruits out there, us coaches are on Twitter 24/7. So
Oh yeah.
anything you put, we're going to see it. So if it's something really good, we're probably going to see it. And obviously if it's something really bad, we will too.
Well, that's good, Coach. Coach, we thank you and appreciate you coming on to the network. Anytime you want to come on, you're more than welcome to get something out. Any last words you want to tell the people watching this here interview here today?
No, Ryan, I really appreciate you. It's awesome this setup and this platform that you have here. It's really cool. So I appreciate you having me on, and I look forward to coming on sometime in the future. And hopefully we're back to normal here soon. Hopefully we can move in a positive direction when it's all safe to do that.
Yes, sir. This is South Alabama's head men's basketball coach, Richie Riley. Thanks for coming on, Coach.
Thanks, brother.